Hello folks, it's Anahita Rao, and today I wanted to discuss a very important topic actually, and it often gets overlooked because we get so caught up in what's in the birth chart and why it's there, and rather than thinking about what to do about it. So of course the essence of Jyotish is to identify the karmic points in your birth chart and perhaps your purpose and your spiritual path. But also one of the essential tools that Jyotish gives us is how to remedy this karma so that it is manageable and so that your goals are achievable. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to speak about each planet and the remedial measures for them individually. But first I want to cover some very general points about remedies and what they mean. So this info is going to be repeated in the earlier few minutes of each video. Okay, so let's get started with that. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing to keep in mind with remedies is that you need discipline, which means you need to be regular. You need to have a sustainable spiritual practice so that you can be regular. This could include a pranayama practice for a few minutes daily. It could include daily concentrated meditation technique that you have. It can include mantra japa. It could include yoga daily or a few times a week. Fasting is another great practice. The energy that the body puts into digestion is then reverted to healing. So if your body is healing, you can be sure that your thoughts are as well. Mantras are very effective, but this depends on your chart. If, for example, you have a poor fifth house or fifth lord, then it may or may not work for you. But nonetheless, regardless of that, you can always benefit from doing mantra chanting for your ascendant lord, nonetheless. Seva, I find, is the best remedy for any issue. It could be volunteer work, it could be giving donation, but if you're only giving donation and not doing something else, you may not see much difference. Because unless you're involved in a regular practice, then the shift inside of you doesn't take place. Yeah, so it's very important to have something in conjunction with seva. With donation especially. You may feel good for a few minutes when you make that donation, but that's about it. I don't feel that the internal shift will take place. Certainly not to a degree that it will be a stabilizing shift or a staying shift. So it might be something that you notice that changes, but it will be very transient and temporary. So if you're just doing donation, then you might want to supplement it with other practices. I've actually devoted a page on my website with ideas for donation connected to each and every planet. So have a look at that. It's basically anahitarao.com. These are merely ideas. I don't have any affiliation with these organizations that are mentioned there, but so just for you to get an idea of what the possibilities are out there. I'm not really a big advocate of gemstones unless they come from a very reliable source. And even then, you have to know how to energize them properly before wearing them and before expecting any sort of impact. If you are into gemstones, then I can recommend a good book which speaks about the healing powers of gemstones, and that's by Harish Johari. Now, there's two schools of thoughts when it comes to gemstones. One is use the natural malefic stones if they rule good houses, and the other is only use the natural benefics ruling good houses. My suggestion would initially be to play it safe and go with the second school of thought. So, for instance, if you're a Leo lagna, don't use the red coral, even though Mars is your yoga karaka planet, because it's a natural malefic. Instead, use the yellow sapphire, because Jupiter is benefic and it rules your fifth house. So when you wear a stone in your right hand, this is ruled by Jupiter, so it will increase the stone's good energy. The left hand is ruled by Venus, and it decreases energy. So if you're wearing for Saturn during Saturn's dasha, for example, then you might want to do it on the left hand to decrease Saturn's impact, perhaps. As I said, however, gemstone is not the remedy that I would recommend, because for a remedy to be really effective, you must participate in the action, because in this way you will be burning off the old karma. Right? Because karma in itself is action, so you need action to burn that off. So the karma that is standing in the way basically creates an obstacle for anything that we desire in life. It gets into the mind, body, and soul. And if you're involved actively in something to remedy that, then you are feeling the effects on all of those levels. To combat it. If you wear a gemstone, then again do so in conjunction with another remedy, such as kriya, such as fasting, such as mantra japa on a daily basis, and of course seva is fantastic, and so is donation. Yeah. So let's get started with the planets now. Okay, folks. So now let's talk about the sun. How to improve the sun. Now, the sun and the moon are probably the two most important planets in your chart. Yeah, because for them to be functioning well, the rest sort of follows. So we want to basically make sure that they are strong and able to give good results. So now, what is the sun? Well, that represents our inner core. The sun represents our soul and our connection with our spirit. If you see the moon, it actually reflects the light of the sun. And what is the moon? The moon is our mind. So even that is reflecting what is in our soul. Of course, we have to be listening. And for this, your sun needs to be in strong shape in your chart. Yeah. Other benefits of a strong sun are self-confidence, a healthy self-esteem, without which we cannot succeed in any area of life. One who has a strong sun has a strong sense of dignity and self-respect. And their soul will not allow them to do anything immoral, as this will hamper their pride and self-respect. Yeah. We've met many people who seem to have so much confidence. But if you look closely, that confidence is actually based on other people's opinions. And sometimes not even their own opinion. So if they experience any sort of setback in life, or another person's opinion changes, then they also fall apart. Yeah, we've noticed this time and time again. This is known as false pride. And this is especially the case, you can see this, when people have the sun, especially men. I think it impacts them more. So if the sun is closely conjunct Rahu or Ketu, I've seen this to be an issue with false pride. If, on the other hand, sun is closely conjunct or aspected by Saturn, this again will create a poor self-esteem. When sun is with Venus, then there may be issues about being too self-absorbed and not placing any value on relationships, which again can cause a low self-confidence. Again, you have to see the the fact that it's very, very close to these planets. Now with the sun, if we see where it gets exalted, which is actually in the natural 9th house. So logically, we should strengthen 9th house matters to strengthen our sun. So for instance, the sun is a karaka for father. So perhaps building a better relationship with your father or your guru or your teachers. 9th house. So what else is 9th house? 9th house has to do with higher learning. So studying any sort of spiritual discipline, law, philosophy. And we can see actually in society that people who are of these backgrounds tend to have pretty high confidence. When we take action with uprightness and morality, and we follow the rules and we follow the laws, we're again strengthening the 9th house and therefore strengthening the sun. Cultivating spiritual practice, this is very, very key for the sun. When we are connecting with higher knowledge and a higher source, we are then connecting with our sun, essentially, our soul. So we're taking our soul and connecting it to this place, which is the higher source. Yeah. Now let's discuss what we can do to build real pride and real confidence. What are some remedies that we can do to strengthen the sun? The practical stuff. Well, the best one is Surya Namaskar. I'm sure you've all heard of it. It's basically a yoga asana which consists of 12 poses. And you can do this 3 times every morning. Just takes a few minutes. At least on a Sunday do it, and then you will see results. Even if you do it for 1 week, your confidence and faith will increase, I can assure you. Your body has receptors that absorb the sun's rays, and these get activated when you're doing the Surya Namaskar. Surya Kriya is also a good remedy. It's a bit different than the Surya Namaskar. So now with this, you have to see which nostril is more activated. So you have to take a breath, closing one off. You can do it like this. Close one nostril and take a breathe in, breathe out. Now, just notice whether the breath is coming more from the right or from the left nostril. Usually for most people it is one or the other. Yeah? If it's coming from the left, then the moon is more activated. And if it's coming from the right, more so, then the sun is activated. So you need to practice taking breaths from the right only. And if you try this exercise for just a couple of minutes and combine it with some deep breathing like pranayama, this activates the Muladhara chakra. Of course, yoga is great because it unites the male and the female, right? And that's what we're doing. The sun and the moon are representative of the male and the female principle within us. Gayatri mantra is a fantastic mantra for the sun. It's dedicated to the sun. You can do that every day. It just takes a couple of minutes, or at least once on Sundays, which is the day of the sun. So I hope that you found that helpful.